Welcome to the Saving Lives podcast. I'm Eddie Joe. Today is Friday, the 18th of December of 2020 for historical context of this podcast that I'm currently recording. And this podcast is going to be about my personal decision to accept the COVID-19 vaccine. Earlier today at approximately 7:15 in the morning, I went ahead and received the COVID-19 vaccine, and I'm going to go over my personal decision as to why I went ahead and did so. Ultimately, we are all individual humans with free will. And of course, today I made the choice to receive the vaccine. It was honestly not a decision that was made lightly. After all, there are numerous unknowns regarding the vaccine, and those unknowns can only become knowns with time. Right now, I don't feel like we have a great deal of time to be able to find out all those answers. Do I wish that we knew all the risks? Absolutely. But can we though? Realistically, no. And that's impossible because we have to wait for time to pass. My decision to receive the COVID-19 vaccine today by Pfizer was a personal decision. I will absolutely respect your decision to either accept the vaccine, like I did, or not accept it. Again, I'm no one to judge nor fight anyone. To be honest, I'm an intensive care doctor. I take care of people who are on the brink of death. I am by no means a vaccine expert as much as I try to go ahead and understand everything that comes with the vaccine. All the information with regards to the studies of the vaccines have been published in reputable journals, and I have taken this information and made my decision based on it. And my decision, as I mentioned, was to become one of the first to receive the vaccine. I've done my homework reviewing the best possible data, as imperfect as it is. I mean, the data leaves us with a lot of questions. It does not give us all the answers. And for those of you who follow me on social media, you notice that I post a lot of current events in medicine, evidence-based stuff, but my posts have not touched on the various subjects of vaccines because I didn't want to get into debates with people about things that are neither proven nor unproven. But I have made the decision to put my money where my mouth is and go ahead and get vaccinated. People ask me, how's the vaccine gonna affect, patient population X or patient population Y or patient population Z? And the truth is that we don't know right now. That's why we have to allow time to pass. We have to let us, the people who are basically the beta testers, for lack of a better term, figure out what's going to happen to certain patient populations. I know of people who are pregnant who have received the vaccine. I know people who are in the process of trying to get pregnant who've received the vaccine. And, it's just what it is. This is how we're studying something new, and we just have to deal with it. We don't have all the answers. I have made the decision to go ahead and get the vaccine because I acknowledge we have a problem. We are in a pandemic, guys. We have tried different things, and we have seen other countries around the world try different things and fail miserably. Things that have failed miserably include mandatory masking, because even right now, if you go ahead and look, I know it's not on the United States news services and whatnot, but places that have had mandatory masking have still had their spikes. They've still had issues with increases in cases. Social distancing, washing hands, all these things are fine and dandy, but it turns out that this virus is ripping through society despite our best efforts to go ahead and squash it. And I fundamentally, and you could disagree with me on this, but fundamentally, I don't think that lockdowns are any good. I think they actually do more harm than good. We have a lot of mental health issues that are being noted because of this virus that are not front page news. But those of us who are working in the intensive care are seeing this with an increase in suicide attempts. Some people might go ahead and point fingers at the, quote, bad apples in society. But like I said before, even the most regimented societies, like, for example, Japan and South Korea, are getting burned right now pretty bad. And that being said, something needs to be done. We hear about cases such as New Zealand that has 0 cases right now, but let's be honest with ourselves. They're a tiny island, and they've had the ability to close their borders, something that we can't do. Can you imagine the political repercussions that would be expressed if right now the current administration will go ahead and say that we're going to close our borders? I mean, that would not bode very well. And a lot of us have discussed herd immunity, but the truth is that even when you look at the countries in Northern Europe who have tried to seek for herd immunity amongst young folks, they're still seeing now an increase in their cases. And herd immunity without a vaccine would honestly be a little bit too costly for society to bear. And then the other thing is that not only will lives be lost, but we can't honestly keep business closed. That's not acceptable. Those of us who are in healthcare, as well as those people who are the policymakers in, local governments and federal governments, are making these decisions to close down businesses and, lock down certain industries. But the truth is, they're still getting paid for their jobs. And those of us in healthcare are still mostly able to put food on the table for our families throughout the entire pandemic. I mean, we haven't really missed a beat. And a lot of us have unfortunately shrugged our shoulders and kind of ignored our neighbors who have invested their whole livelihoods into their businesses and have watched them collapse. I mean, this is just something very difficult for these individuals that those of us listening to this podcast have likely not had to feel, because again, we're still getting a paycheck throughout all of this. So we don't have that lack of financial. So after my experience with this virus, basically since March, that I've been taking care of these patients and just studying as much as I can, reading as much as I can, my opinion now is that herd immunity will only safely occur through vaccines. I erroneously thought that this was going to burn out like other viruses have in the past, like H1N1, SARS, MERS, etc. I thought that they were just going to go away. But unfortunately, guys, it has not. And I thought that summer was going to kill it. I mean, underlying personality of mine is that, I'm just an optimistic person. I thought summer was going to kill this, and boy, was I wrong. I mean, I guess people were going into their homes with their air conditioning and all that, and still spreading it around their families and all that. Because I'm currently in Florida, and our biggest spike was in June, July, when, it's the peak of summer over here. And I guess it was my wishful thinking. But as we went from one COVID winter to spring to summer to fall and then to another winter, and it's still here and roaring through our population, we must come to the realization that this virus honestly isn't going anywhere, guys. And in the meantime, it's tough on all of us because our life is short and we're missing out on this short life while others are losing theirs. We in healthcare, those of us listening to this podcast, and me in particular, as well as my team, we are high risk at the end of the day, even though our PPE does a pretty good job. But we're in the trenches, and some of us have watched our colleagues and teammates get sick. In fact, some of us have even unfortunately seen some of our own teammates succumb to this virus, which is immensely hard. And as on a personal note, I need to spend time with my parents. This is me being selfish, but this is life. I mean, my old man right now, he's not doing so well, and I don't know how much time I have left with him. And if getting the vaccine gives me some sort of protection so that I can spend time with him, well, so be it. I'm going to go ahead and get the vaccine. And this will also hopefully, allow me to start interacting a bit more in society. I want to get back into jiu-jitsu. I would like to be able to travel without fear of bringing something home or spreading the virus. Because ultimately, guys, life is short and we can't continue to be trapped indoors in fear of what's outside. And so I'm coming to you with this podcast today, which is mostly a rant because I have gone ahead and gotten the vaccine. About 12 hours in, my arm is a little bit sore, but I'm still going to get my workout in today because the vaccine soreness is not going to stop me. But will this vaccine be the cure? Well, probably not. Will I still potentially get COVID? Well, possibly. Will it decrease transmissibility? And perhaps, it might decrease it, but I'm not sure. The truth is, do I know everything? And to that, I have to say, absolutely not. I don't know everything. But do I wish we had more data? Yes, absolutely. I wish we had more data, but guys, we just don't have enough time. And again, I respect your decision to not get vaccinated. That's okay. But I think that the benefit in my case, my individual case, and again, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, my decision was to go ahead and receive the vaccine and basically see what happens. So I'd like to thank you all for joining me on this journey. As I describe my thought process, let me know what your comments are wherever you're listening to this. And please be safe out there, guys. We're going to end up beating this virus, by the way. This is going to be something that we're never going to forget. And I wish you all very well in this journey we call life. Much love to you all. Thanks a lot. Bye.